Welcome to the Chronically Will podcast, where we hold the real conversations with community that needs to be heard. On today's episode, I have the wonderful honor and privilege of sitting down and having a conversation that seems like it's been years in the making with my sister, my friend, my fellow T1D, my fellow artist, creative, motivational speaker, coach. Like, I finally get to sit down and have this conversation with you again. That seems like it's been years in the making. Qiana, I truly appreciate you for everything that you do, not only in this space, in this community, but many people don't know this, but you know us as artists, like we're filled with feels and emotions and all of those things. So like, I truly do feel and understand you more so than a lot of the community, because I see myself in you often. And again, like we're both 40 plus. Like I'm 42. I don't like we're both 40 plus. So we've had this lived experience of just life in general through multiple decades. So again, I thank you for joining me on this journey, my sister. Could you please give our audience a brief summary of who you are?
Oh my gosh. I'm like emotional. What an introduction. Thank you. 40 plus, you looking 30 over here. No, like just turned 30. Amazing. Well, for all of you who are watching this amazing podcast that Will has put together, what a blessing for our community. My name is Qiana Drew. I wear a lot of hats, and I've been in this community. I started out in about 2018, 2019. I have type 1 diabetes. I've had it for over 20 years. I was diagnosed about 4 days shy of my 21st birthday, like a really big milestone birthday for me. And I also have a daughter who was recently diagnosed. She's very new in her T1D journey. She was diagnosed at 10 years old, a little bit before she turned 10. And we have that in common. Right before our birthdays, we get, it's not really a gift, but if you think of it differently, it could be. You can actually rewrite the narrative of what it means to live with type 1 diabetes. And she just turned 13. I am an artist, just like Will. I sing, I act, I dance. I don't draw as much anymore. I used to, but I just love anything that has to do with the arts. And I'm a performer at heart. I love being able to translate a message through song or through acting or even through public speaking, which is what I do within this community as well. And let's see, what else? Do I give a little bit of my background?
Look, your bucket, your bucket
This is my background.
Look, your bucket is keep filling. Like
Oh my God.
it never ends, right?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I do all the things, but you know, my passion has grown. We all, when we're little, get asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's such a loaded question. Now, as you get older, and I'm trying to teach my kids this, that it's bigger than what you want to be. Mm-hmm. But it's like, who do you want to embody?
Right. I remember as a kid, like I wanted to be Michael Jordan. I wanted to be Michael Johnson, the world-class track athlete. Like you may have wanted to be Janet Jackson. Like you may have wanted to be Prince.
But, Diana Ross, whatever.
Right, Diana. But through this journey in life, like you said, like many hats are worn, and our purpose truly isn't just one blanketed statement. Our legend that we create, that legacy that will continues to grow, continues to blossom, continues to bloom. And we can pick from those flowers, from those roses, and gift that to our children so that our legacy continues. So like me personally, my greatest gift The greatest thing that I've done is become a father. Like, that's it. Like that's number one by far.
Yeah. I mean, when you get entrusted by God to take care of a human.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. And it's so layered, right? But I feel like even now I've gotten some practice, not really realizing that with type 1 diabetes. You get practice in taking the time to think about the challenges, how you're going to navigate a challenge, how you're going to move through it so that you can get back up and keep going in life. And so when I started out, like that question for me when I was a little kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was like, I want to be, and I still hear my little voice, my little 5-year-old self, I want to be a singer, a dancer, and a model. And I remember asking the doctor, my pediatrician, I asked him, how tall do you think I'm going to be when I grow up? And he's like, well, your mom's 5 feet. So maybe 5'2", 5'3". And I was like, man, bummer. I guess the model thing isn't going to happen. I left there like, okay, well, singer, dancer. I guess I got to let go of the model thing. But you know what's so amazing about life is that you don't know how it's going to open up for you. And those desires that you have in your heart, they're not for anything. They mean something. And I didn't know, but 20 years from me asking my pediatrician that question about, well, how tall I would be, I was letting go of the idea of like, I can't be a model because for me, everything was supposed to be big. Like supermodels were really big then, and I'm a Leo, so everything's got to be big. 20 years after that is when I ended up, or a little bit about 20 years, I would say 15 or so years, I ended up doing an Adidas ad. And I did a Coca Cola ad that ran on all the buses. And there I didn't know when I was a little girl that there was something called print modeling. And so I still got to do the things that were within my heart. And I say that only to encourage anyone out there who has a desire in their heart that they want to pursue. And it doesn't necessarily be like I'm talking about career things that I wanted to do that had to do with the talents and my curiosities as a kid and my love for the arts. You can apply this to your diabetes, and there could be this desire you have in your heart to have the type of care, discipline, commitment to your health. And it feels like it can't happen. Maybe a doctor told you that you have a complication and now you're thinking worst case scenario here. And you think that you can't live a long time and still a good quality of life in your longevity up into your 80s, like even 90s, like just throw away. I saw something recently that said, throw away the egg timer on your life of like when you think you're cooked, because only God says. And when you have those desires in your heart, it's not for anything. It's because it really can happen. And, continue with the desire and then make the choices that are in alignment with the vision that you want for your life. Because I've lived enough life, say, in my 40 plus years on the planet, I look all the way back to when I was a 5-year-old and all the desires I had and how things did come to pass for me. Within my career that I wanted at that time when I was a little girl, and still, where I did get to do American Idol and made it to Hollywood. I got to be in a major film that is very silly. I was in Pootie Tang years ago, and I got diagnosed about maybe 3 weeks after doing Pootie Tang with Chris Rock, and that was like an amazing experience. And I got to do all of these things. Fast forward, that I get diagnosed with diabetes a little bit after being at the very cusp of getting to taste the things that I had dreamed of as a little girl. And I never knew how much having diabetes would impact every part of my life. From my biggest one, the biggest thing it impacted was the relationship I have with myself, because I had to develop a relationship with my diabetes first. And I didn't know that. But you don't know what you don't know, right? But my relationships, I mean, I had some wonderful people in my life, and it's hard for you to show up as your full self if you don't if you don't prioritize your health. And for me, fast forward, I have a new passion, which is helping people with diabetes, encouraging them, inspiring them, educating our community to know that you can do this. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's challenging, but you can do it, and you can rewrite the narrative of what it means to live with a chronic condition and show the world that you could do all the things and make 180 plus decisions daily
And
about your blood sugars.
look, and you can, you do, you will continue to, because I jotted down here how you're able to recall when you were 5 years old in that pediatrician office. And then you just brought that full surface, like, because you just stated how you're able to do some of those things that were basically, you felt as though when you were 5 years old, you're told like basically to stop. You can't do these things. But now you're telling people today that 5-year-old Qiana, you could have did those things. You're telling yourself that even today, while you're telling other people, like, don't let anything negate who you are, who you're destined to be, because those dreams will forever be there. You continue to reach for them. That hope, that goal, that opportunity will never cease, no matter what, no matter who's in front of you, who's beside you. It's all about what you can do, and you know you can. There's nothing stopping you. And Qiana, I already have a title down for your episode, Key.
What is
because, and I smiled when I wrote it down. I made a big circle because you mentioned again at 5 years old, dreams, and you were talking. You said you mentioned, you said I wanted to be like Diana Ross, and you said can't nothing stop you. So I wrote down, ain't no mountain high enough.
I love that.
Like,
The song.
there's no mountain high enough to stop you from reaching your utmost potential.
Yes, your highest potential. That's what
Yes,
we're here to do.
yes, yes, we are. And people who are listening to this, they will be able to get that benefit from you. You being a human, a person who is, you're a true empath at heart. I see it.
Yeah,
Like a healer also. And I know that helps you in your own healing, because we know diabetes can be a burden. It is a burden. And we do whatever we can do to lessen this burden that is living with this chronic health condition. And a part of that is being a part of a community, being able to show people face value. Like, look at me, I'm looking good, right? Right? That's you. That's you. Look at me. Like,
and it's something else after you done been beat up. It's like, I look good, but I was beat up. I've been beat up.
right.
And for it not to dampen your spirits. Something that I love. I don't know if you probably met him. He's the artist. And in New York, he has his work that shows up. I can't remember his name. I'm having a total blank of this New York, this white guy, and not Elliot. I don't know why I can't remember his name, but he's pretty known.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he used to always end his, like, whenever I would see him or we would communicate, he would kind of sign off and say, keep your numbers low. Wait, keep your spirits high and your numbers low. And it's like, regardless of how diabetes can be a burden and a challenge and beat you down sometimes, I mean, it's like energy draining, keep those spirits high. You know, and it doesn't mean that you're going to always keep your spirits high. If you feel defeated today, I mean, there is no like fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. You know, acknowledge that, give yourself space for that. You mentioned, being a healer, and we can heal ourselves. Like, God has given this remarkable body that does all the things without us telling us. anything. And we have this pancreas that's missing a few, what does the computer, it's missing some code here. So there's some things that it can't do. And how amazing that our body then still tries to compensate by using other organs, and pushing those organs to the max sometimes to make sure we stay healthy and here at the end of the day, here. And why here? Because sometimes when we get beat down with so much crap in the world and the day, just all the challenges of just being human, I truly believe we are here, yes, for a reason, and it is to fulfill our highest potential. It is to show someone else the way. And it could be as small as like you stopped into a coffee shop and you just said something to someone that in your mind, you might not have thought it was a big deal, but to them, it was everything. And or maybe you just smiled at them. Maybe you just could see them. And that's all we want to be. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be cherished. We want to be appreciated, which I love this community because we do that. We do that because we have that shared foundation of a lived experience, which is dealing with our blood sugars all day.
Right. And we all know what rock bottom is when it comes to health. And we've been able to stand on top of that rock and keep on climbing. Qiana, like your star is still shining. Like your light has not been dimmed. Seriously. You may not be on that same trajectory that you were when you were younger, but today we see you. We see you. That's why I don't know if you recall, a few years ago, I reached out to you. I was like, we need to have and this was on onset of the pandemic. So a lot of things probably passed our minds. I was like, we need to have a Zoom, a artist showcase where we got the visual arts, we have acting, singing, dancing, all of those things.
All of it. Yeah.
Comedy. Yes. Because at that time, in this space, seriously, you were one of one. You were one of one. And I was like, there could be a wave of all of us just showing the younger people, the newly diagnosed people, that they can also do this. I've shared with parents, a lot of them, your profile, because many parents will say things such as, well, my child has this diagnosis. I know it's going to stop them from becoming such and such. And I'm like, it's easier for me to show you than to tell you. I'll share your profile. And they're like, she was on American Idol? I'm like, yes. Not only that, but she was in Pootie Tang. And they're like,
don't blink.
Look,
a few minutes.
Right. I mean, that's for the parents. I don't know about the kids.
Right. I know.
But again, those dreams are reality. And we got to keep on chasing them, because when we date back 103 years ago now, when insulin was first given and readily available for people, before then, dreams truly may have been left there.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, we now have insulin. We have faster acting insulin, smarter insulins. We have all of this technology. We have to use it to our advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, because I'm sure Leonard Thompson, if he can look through that dial and see the future, he'd be smiling. Dr. Banning would be smiling.
So proud.
So proud. Yes. The millions of lives around the world that have been able to continue even post this diagnosis. Because me and you are part of the 40-20 club. Let me explain the 40-20 club.
Yeah, I'm like, what is that?
I mean, back in our day, I've been to the 40-40 club back in the day in Atlantic City and everything.
I think I walked into there a couple times in New York.
But the 40-20 club, today, we're in our 40s. We were diagnosed early 20s.
Uh-huh.
Like I was 20 years young. March 10th, 2003. I was 20. You were diagnosed right after 20, turning 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
And today,
We're in
look
the
at us.
20s.
Look at us today. We're in our 40s. We're part of that 40-20 club. So we've lived actually longer with diabetes now than we did without it.
Yeah.
And we're still making it. We still got smiles on our face. We still walk in grace. Like look at my case when I
Excited.
step. Look at like I'm good about this diabetes thing. I don't want it. If I could get rid of it, I would. But
Throw it in the
I'm
trash.
look, I'm okay. I'm okay, right? Um, you were diagnosed again at 21 years young, not 21 years old. 21 years young. You're still your parents' baby today, but back then you were really still their baby.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
though they may have looked at her like she thinks she grown, but
I was one day out of the hospital for, from being diagnosed. And my parents were like, oh, our baby's been through so much. Let's get her a car. Only one day. It was my first day out of the hospital, waking up in my own bed, and it's my birthday. And they take me to go get, it was a Nissan. I think I was at like a Nissan. I think that's what it was. So they're getting ready to sign the paperwork. I pick out this white car and I have my first low blood sugar ever. Because, you know, you don't really get those in the hospitals much.
Mhm.
They let you go and be like, you'll probably feel like this. I would have much rather experienced having a low blood sugar in the hospital than outside. And so that was my first low. And I didn't even know what was happening. And so here I'm standing up. My mom is sitting in one chair to the left and my dad is to the right. And the car salesman's like, all right, sign here. And I'm just like, I gotta go. My mom was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't want the car. I don't want it. And she's like, what do you mean you don't want it? I was like, I don't want it. And I left. I freaked out. But you know, like you can't, your emotions are all over the place. You're nervous. You're scared. All of those are symptoms of having a low.
The
And I didn't
alternate
know
mind.
the alter mind. I didn't know snippy. Like I was yelling at them. And the car salesman was like, okay, I don't know what's happening here, but and I did not get a car that day. I didn't get a car that day. And I didn't even get my own car until, man, it was a long time. I want to say like 26, 25. But I was also in New York. I didn't need a car as much, even though I lived in New Jersey. But at the time, I was in New York a lot and staying with my then boyfriend who lived in Brooklyn. So there was no need for a car. But in hindsight, I'm thankful. I'm
Yeah.
thankful I did not get the car because I didn't understand how impactful having diabetes is and how to navigate a low. No way with my reckless 21-year-old self would have been okay in the streets in a freaking car.
Look,
No way.
and I recall after my diagnosis, like being in a car and having some of the craziest incidents. And at the time, I didn't put it to like, but when I put them together, two and two together, like, okay, it's because of your blood sugar being low. That's why you can't focus. I remember like circling around a block like nonstop until someone stopping me and like, are you okay? And I'm like, and I couldn't talk. Like being young, I mean, 20, 21 years old, we already feel as though like nothing can stop us. We're like bionic. Like seriously, that young, being diagnosed after, I mean, we know the things that we've done previously, whether we got hurt, sick, ill, but we were always be able to come back to full strength. So when we were given that diagnosis, even though we may have been told like, this is it right here, like you have to really focus in on what's occurring, be in the moment, stay in that moment, and try to fix that before you move on to the next step. We're people of color. Like, I'm from the hood. Like, there was nothing that could stop me. You, you were, your basket was full.
It was full.
Look, you were in the entertainment industry, this creative young artist chasing dreams. But then you got this diagnosis. Even though medically it may have altered the person at the time. And you may have felt like, oh, diabetes is like going to stop my dreams at that time, at that moment.
Well, you don't know when you're like in your
Right.
early 20s. You're not thinking about anything. You're still on your parents' health insurance. That's when reality set
Mm.
in. That's when I was like, oh, this makes things even more challenging because I need my insulin. And I got off my parents' insurance when I turned 26. I think I was 26. And at that time, I'll never forget like not wanting anybody to know that I was like rationing my insulin. And I was living with Missy Elliott at the time.
Hold on. You lived with Missy?
I, yeah, I lived with Missy Elliott, and like one of the most amazing. I was staying with her, my whole girl group that I was a part of, and we were signed to a production company that belonged to her. And I didn't want her to know like that that things were challenging for me in that way. Oh, funny thing is though, she would check on me. Like I'd be in the middle of the night in her kitchen and she would come in. And at the time, she probably eats differently now because I know she lives with a chronic condition that she's mentioned as well. I think she has, but she loved pot pies, like chicken pot pies, and she'd be like getting herself a pot pie, and then she'd see me, and I'd be drinking like some chamomile tea. And for the most part, I ate well, but I was rationing my insulin at the time. And she's like, "You okay? You feel all right?" And we would have these moments, like just her and I alone. And of course, I was nervous. I was like, "Oh my God, it's the middle of the night, talking to Missy Elliott. Somebody pinch me." But that was an amazing time in my life. But I had just gotten off the insurance, so I had to get a job because we didn't get paid for that. We didn't have, but I wasn't making any money. And so at that point, I had to get a job because I needed to pay for my insulin. And the insulin was so expensive. And this is in 2005. It's like just for the pens for me, it's probably more now, but a box of pens was like almost 400. It was like $250 or $400. I think it was a lot. And I needed that. And because I needed a long acting and a short acting, I didn't wear a pump. So it was just a lot. I'm like, man, I need $700 for my insulin. And shout out, and I need to call him today. January 23rd is his birthday. Corte Ellis. He happens to be her cousin. And he knew about my condition. And he's like, you don't seem well. And I'm like, I need insulin, but I can't really afford it. And he said, I'll figure it out. And he may have gotten the money from Missy. I don't even know. But he was like, I won't tell anybody. And he gave me the $700 to go get my insulin. Shout out to Corte, by the way. He's written a lot of songs that people have
Big shout out to Corte.
Ellis for saving my life.
Big shout out to Big Sister Missy also. Yes. Like them just recognizing the changes in you, because you being young, being the person that's living with it, you may have not seen it. You may have just grabbed that ball and just ran with it. Like that's what we typically do. Being young and rationing insulin, like you probably just thought about it like as you got older, like I was rationing insulin. Mm-hmm. But at the time, again, being that bionic young person, like the doctors told me I can't do this. Watch me do this. Mm-hmm. Every stone that was tossed in my way, watch me pick them up and move them out the way.
Right.
Like that's how, rationing insulin, I remember doing that as well.
And I remember, not to cut you off, but it wasn't just rationing insulin. At the time, I was in the throes also of a disordered eating patterns. because I was in the music industry and I was around celebrities a lot. And so I wanted to keep up appearances and I needed to keep a certain weight. And so I was between rationing insulin, enough of it not to go into DKA, but also needing to afford it and keep it around. But I wasn't taking as good care of myself. And I didn't have in my mind yet that how impactful diabetes was. I was so zoned in on what it was I was trying to do in life and where I was trying to go that diabetes didn't feel like I never looked at it to be like, oh, you have to pay attention to this now, because that is actually it's in the way of you getting further. I wasn't able to, without my insulin, I wasn't able to perform to my full extent. I was exhausted. We would spend late nights in the studio, and people thought that I was the lazy singer in a sense. They'd be like, Qiana's sleeping again? No, Qiana's blood sugar is like 700, 800. You don't know, and it's 3:00 in the morning. And it's my turn to sing my part, and someone is like, I would go into the bathroom and try to take like little naps. And she had like this huge big bathroom in the basement, and I'm like, no one know where I am. It's not my part yet. And I'd be sleeping in the bathroom, and then somebody would be like, Qiana, you in there? It's your turn. It's your part. But I was really struggling, and I just didn't until I got into DKA from doing that, from rationing, from actually insulin omission. I took just enough. I still had to take it, but I took just enough, and I ended up in the DKA. And my doctor had said to me, you could have died. I was in the ICU for 2 days. And even at that point, I'll never forget. This was actually before we met in Missy, right before we met Missy, my girl group that we were in. They were looking for a replacement because they were like, we don't know if she can hang. Like, we don't know that she can hang. And one of my really good friends was like, girl, you need to get it together, because they was looking for somebody else. I was like, oh no, we ain't dying and we need to get it together. But I had just such tunnel vision. And again, not realizing how impactful having diabetes would be in every part of my life, from getting to where I wanted to get into my career, from being able to have really good, even to be a really good partner to someone I was in a relationship with. I couldn't. I was hiding so much struggle. And not until I had my daughter did I face the fact that if I don't put this first, I'll never make good out of anything. I'm gonna die. And I had to tell myself the truth. And it's really hard to get to that place, but I had to be brutally honest with myself about my trajectory, and knowing that there was absolutely a void. I could not even see a future if I didn't take care of my health. And the birth of my daughter, who's now has T1D as well, Lily, was the catalyst for me to pursue getting as healthy as I could. And it was just the beginning. So I say that to say, if there's anybody who's in a place of like, I can't get it, I'm trying and I'm not getting it. I'm relapsing when it comes to insulin omission and not taking your insulin because you don't want to gain weight or for any reason. There's going to be relapses, but don't give up. Just continue to try and try and try. And I didn't go to any therapy. There wasn't a community at that time. There was no social media for me. It was a vision that I continued to play over and over in my head of where I wanted to be, of who I wanted to become, of being a mom and here for my children. And
you are
saying to myself that I could do it.
And you are doing it. Lily, I must speak to you right now, Lily. You are a true blessing, because you may not know this, baby girl, but you saved your mom's life. Like, seriously. I have a story of my daughter saving my life. Yes, she actually helped you take that needed step to start. It may not have been a completed step, but it was a start. Like just looking at her smiles, holding her, snuggling with her, smelling her. I'm like, I have to. I have to be here. I have to. She will not see the burden of it, the struggle of it. All she's going to see is that mommy's here.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's all that was needed. Like you said, you were not using you weren't using enough insulin at a time. There are so many people in this community that I come across that have lived through the same experience. I think the majority of us have. Where I recall like chugging jugs of water when when I didn't have enough insulin, thinking that that was going to help better the outcome. And at 26, losing health insurance, me and my dad have the same name. I remember calling him while I'm at a Walgreens pharmacy, and I'm like, Dad, this insulin at the time, I think it was my Lantus or something. It was like $550. And I said, I cannot afford this. And he was like, all right, come to the house, grab my insurance card. Like my dad, like literally was like, grab my insurance card because we had the same name. And my dad is diabetic as well. And so I went to the pharmacy with his insurance card. They ran it and it took off like a few $100s, but I still couldn't afford it. And the pharmacy technician at the time was like, there's this program. It was called a 340B program. And it aids and helps in communities that people can't afford certain needed medical supplies and medications. And it's a free program. And he was like, sign up for this program. I signed up for it. My insulin came down to like $3. And it was just from that person. And I still share that information with people today because it's still available in some areas. But that's what it took. It always takes. Sometimes people think like, okay, you're living with this. You can fight through it. You can handle this. But sometimes it does take someone else. It does. That's why we got to be here for one another. Like we got to keep those olive branches extended.
Yeah.
No matter what. I mean, we may have different beliefs than other people, be on different journeys, different paths in lives, have different lived experiences, but we all have this experience of diabetes. And we don't want them to go through what we went through.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's too much at times. It is. But we can make it. We will.
We are.
We are. You grew up
I grew up in Newark, New Jersey.
Newark, New Jersey. Hold on. Have you ever come across like Redman, Joe Budden?
I have a song with Joe Budden.
Joe Budden is one of my favorite artists
Really?
all time.
What's crazy is
All time.
It is Joe Budden because I was a part of another girl group. This one was not the one that I was with when I was working with Missy Elliott. And this group, you guys can look it up if you go to wherever you listen to your music. It's called The Rain. THARAYNE. The Rain. And the only song that was released off a Fire album. The album was so fire. Oh my gosh. The song is called Didn't You Know? And on the remix is Joe Buttons and Lupe Fiasco.
You know what's crazy? I think I've heard this before. I think it was early on in Joe Budden's podcast career, because he's one of the top podcasters in the world now.
That's
But
amazing.
but early on, they do these things called sleeper picks where they like showcase music, and someone
That
pulled
people
that
were
up.
sleeping on because the
Yes,
song was fun.
yes,
It
someone
was
pulled
so
that up.
good. Wendy Williams would play it every single day at the same time. And then eventually she asked us to come to the studio and she interviewed all of us. And that was a pretty cool moment. I got choked. Well, I got choked up because she started asking everybody what their age was.
Mhm.
And I always had to lie about my age. So I'm glad I could celebrate my 40s now. Like I'm
Look,
finally able to be like celebrating my 40s. But I was always labeled too old. I mean, here I am a part of a group and I just turned 23. And supposedly I was too old then. And I was part of this group when Beyonce had just dropped her first album. So that was really big at the time. And then that one song, Didn't You Know, was on rotation heavily. And she had asked everybody, so how old are you? And one girl was like 17 or 16, the
mm,
other one was 17. And then she was like, and how about you? And I was like, she asked me what year. I graduated high school. That's what happened. And I was like, oh God, what year? If I am also 18,
mhm.
what year did I graduate? I could not remember. And she goes, oh, girl, oh, you didn't graduate. Oh, okay, it's okay. And I was like, no, I did graduate. She goes, girl, Mary J. Blige didn't graduate. It's okay that you didn't graduate. You know, Wendy. I
Mhm.
was like, oh my God. I couldn't remember. I couldn't do my math. Math was never a thing. I don't even know how I work it out with diabetes.
I was about to say diabetes math is a different thing. But if y'all get a chance, just do a quick Google search of The Rain featuring Joe Budden and Lupe Fiasco. I just did a quick Google search and it popped right up. And I see it. I can see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had just turned 23 years old.
right. You were 23, Jordan year.
Oh.
Yes, that's a year of greatness also. Turning 23. Um, diabetes. Again, you've lived 21 years without it. 21 years without it.
I got to know what it was like to just be free, to not constantly have to like think before I eat anything, think before I go anywhere about
Mhm.
what snacks to bring or anticipate if there could be a low or especially when you got big things like every time you're going into a meeting or you're
Right.
going into a job interview, you're just going to work.
Mhm.
You have to prepare. You have to be prepared for the things you do expect and the unexpected, because your hormones are doing all kinds of things, triggering the release of, you know, either a low or the release of like your liver letting out a stored sugar or just adrenaline or whatever you might just drop. So there's just so much to consider. And no one really understands that while we're having a conversation with someone about anything, that in the back there is a running program that is zapping a lot of energy.
Like
In the back.
the data
Oh,
is overfilling. Like it's flooded. Seriously.
mhm,
And we're like a little fish at the top where everything else just filling in. We're just trying to stay afloat. Trying to stay afloat.
mhm.
Yeah, being diagnosed at that age, you knew what you were going to be doing in life. Really. Um, I always say to people, being diagnosed as an adult, we should have been gifted during that hospital stay some therapeutic measures because this new diagnosis, me at 20, you at 21, is a traumatic experience. Truly. And we may get minor, minuscule education in checking our blood sugar. Like you said, you didn't know about the lows until you was trying to get that Nissan.
Yeah, no.
Um, I didn't know about the lows until I pulled into a parking lot at a grocery store and hit a car. Like
My gosh.
that was one of many times.
Oh my God.
We've all had emergency episodes. And we've all had episodes where we thought that we had it. Like, I can handle this. I can handle this. And you're telling people, nah, I got this. I'm okay. I'm okay. Next thing you know, you're seizing uncontrollably, suffering from a hypoglycemic episode. Do you ever look back and think about your life before diabetes? How long did it take for you to get over that hump?
A long time. I don't think back as much anymore.
Okay.
My daughter still does. Well, she's fresh into her diagnosis. I do remember though the freedom of not having this extra big responsibility to give myself extra care in that way. I do. I mean, the biggest thing would be, being able to actually go anywhere and see food and get excited without thinking about everything I have to do before I eat. Which, that I didn't think about food in that way or that much. And it caused, some disordered eating.
Look, I was about to say that diabetes does cause disordered eating. You don't hear about that a lot from men, but it does.
But it happens to men too. Yeah.
It does. I mean, just going into a restaurant or whatever, and everyone else is grabbing food, and mentally you're like, I want to do this, but I can't do it right now.
I can't do it, or I can't do it in this way.
Right.
Like I want to be greedy sometimes. I want to eat all the cookies.
Sometimes we do.
And sometimes we do. But it never ends well if I eat all the cookies. It never ends well. There is no amount of insulin, even if I bolus for the math. The math is never going to math if I have all of the Oreos. Not for me.
How did your diabetes diagnosis play out? Like, how did you find out that you were living with diabetes?
Well, I was showing all of the signs, but I had never heard of diabetes until maybe a month prior or 2 months prior, which is really ironic. I almost feel like I got a prelude to, like, if you think of your life as a bit of a movie and you get really aware, I almost feel like God gives you signs of like, even people you meet. It's not always by coincidence. Like if our bodies work in sync the way that they do, you don't meet people by coincidence. And those little happenings that occur in your life are like preludes to the rest of the movie. It's like, oh shoot, that's what God was up to when I ran into such and such, or when I was late and there was an accident in front of me. Like I just encourage you to like pay attention to the signs. But it was about 2 months or so, and I worked at that car dealership that I was going to get a car at. And I did clerical work upstairs. And there was a woman named Barbie. Shout out to Barbie Camacho, because Puerto Rican, and we just reconnected. I need to reach out to her. I actually would love to interview her, because that was my introduction to, I have diabetes. What is that? Basically. And Barbie had type 1 diabetes. She was pregnant at the time, and lunch was coming in, something that she ordered, and she had a Diet Coke and like a sandwich or something. And then I remember saying to her, "You drink Diet Coke?" She's like, "Yeah, I do." I was like, "Ew, that's disgusting. I would never drink that." Mm-hmm. And she said, "Well, I have to drink it because I have diabetes." And I was like, "What is that?" She's like, "Well, I can't have sugar because I have diabetes." And that's all I remember. And I was like, okay, interesting. Went about my day. Mm-hmm. I had worked at that same place when I got diagnosed. I was still there. And I didn't even realize how special that was to have Barbie.
It was a needed moment.
I didn't even know how special that was. And I have a picture of her. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get emotional because I recently found her on Facebook and she watches my stories and she has no idea that she is like this superstar. Um, Part
She's
of my
like
story.
she's one of your heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was pregnant at the time. Her kid has to be like already in the 20s. But then I get diagnosed. I got diagnosed because I thought that my mother's insurance was going to end when I turned 21. And so my mom kept saying, I don't know what's going to happen with the insurance. You need to go hurry up and do your physical and do all the things now. So I made an appointment and I went to go get a standard physical. And I did tell the doctor, I was like, I don't know, I've lost weight. And I said, I lost weight. I was thirsty a lot. And so then she decided to check my sugar. And when she took out the monitor, I was like, oh, that's that thing Barbie uses. And my sugar was 350. And so she's like, oh, you need to go to the hospital right away. Just go straight to the hospital. And I'm like, but I feel fine. Like, I'm okay. What do you mean? She's like, no, this is very dangerous. You have to go right now. And I was like, okay. Didn't know that it was going to be the beginning of the rest of my life as I know it. And I was in there for 4 days learning about diabetes. They brought the registered dietitian in to talk about carbs, and I really still didn't understand it. You know, if I could do a complete overhaul, as we all would like to do with the American healthcare system, with the American sick care system, no healthcare sick care.
Right. It's a difference.
I don't know. I would have people like us visit everyone who is diagnosed and give them a little tidbit of some things that they need to take with them. And it's just the planting of a seed because you still have to experience it to really grasp the impact of having diabetes. And I would also have part of your now medical care include coaching. And before you're even able to continue getting the services that you need to get your pump or your insulin, you have to be in this group to learn about carbohydrates or where do you need clarity. And at least I think a good 3 months of going in on either a bi-weekly basis where you're sitting and you're learning and you're talking about some of the things that maybe have occurred. Maybe you had your first low, or maybe you have a stubborn high and you have no idea what's going on, so that we all can understand that there are countless factors that go into play, and to practice considering those and making provisions for those when you need it. And it's really like strengthening a new muscle. The only way you're going to get better at managing diabetes is by practicing the things that work. And you don't know what works until you continue to fail. So like the first thing in that class would be expect massive trial and error and do not beat yourself up for failing because you are learning. And unlike school, where you go to school and they give you the lesson and you're taking your lessons and here's the test, guys, let's go over everything we learned. You don't learn anything until you go through it. You get the test before the lesson when you have diabetes. So off the gate, let everybody know you're off the hook here because you're being tested in every moment to learn what works for you, because everybody's body is different.
It's like a 90-day probation period almost.
It is.
Right? That's what I kept thinking. I was like, okay, all right. It's like on a job, like, okay, let's get a full evaluation on if this person truly knows the intricacies of living with diabetes.
And not even that, their healthcare team. Because the healthcare team is also guessing what works for you too.
Right. Learn together.
If you're not going back and forth talking to them, they don't know that it's not working, and you're continuing to follow what they told you to do, but not communicating it to them until you see them again. And I don't know how long, because there's nowhere you're going to get it all within 2 weeks or within a month. No, at least 3 months, and even still a full freaking year Like I heard because Missy's stylist, he was Halle Berry's stylist, hairstylist. And when I just remember this, like we were all in a trailer, and I don't know whose hair he was doing, but he found out through maybe I was giving myself insulin that I had type 1. He was like, "Oh, Hallie has diabetes, and she used to take insulin, but she doesn't take it anymore." He said, "But I used to do her hair years ago, and she took a whole year off of acting, a year or two, just to understand her body." And I was like, I also thought, like, I got an inside scoop on Halle Berry and how she takes care of her health. I still want to know more. I'm like, so
Look, we all do.
we all do. It's like you were taking insulin and then you didn't.
There's two people that I always want to know more about. And I try to peer into one of them because they're on social media and they show things, but they don't say anything about diabetes. Halle Berry and Vanessa Williams.
Vanessa's new in her diagnosis too. She's not
Vanessa Williams was diagnosed. Hold on. I'm going to say 1989.
Really?
Yes.
Vanessa Williams, like blue eyes?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Vanessa Williams, the first Miss America to get her.
I did not.
Crown invoked. Yep.
Intrigued.
Yep. Many decades.
I did not know. Have I ever? No, I didn't. I knew she was married to Rick Fox, and I would see Rick Fox a lot because when I was in high school, my first boyfriend was J.D. Williams, who starred in The Wire.
Right.
And so he's 18 and on set, and I would go after school into the city, and I would see Vanessa Williams' husband, her then husband. I feel like she might have been around before I was so young, but I never knew that.
Yeah, she was diagnosed young.
I definitely will want to sit her down too. So how did you manage? It's just always interesting. It's interesting to hear people's, their stories, but how they get through. Because I feel like that really helps all of us. Like, how did you get through? And what was what mindset did you need to develop? Because there is a development there that needs to.
I believe Vanessa Williams' grandmother passed from type 1 diabetes also. Yeah, she had a strong family history of it. Speaking of, do you have ahead of your own diagnosis and now your daughter's diagnosis, do you have a family history of autoimmune conditions in general?
Not that I know of.
Like celiac, rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's, any of those things?
No, I mean, for me, I was like the first, and I thought until my daughter was born that maybe it was because I was asthmatic as a kid and had to take a lot of like steroid type of medications that they say can affect people and they can develop diabetes because of it. And even then, I didn't even know why. Now that I coach people with diabetes, every time a person takes a steroid, that blood sugar is through the roof.
Yes.
So now I know. And I was on so many steroids as a kid. But then you never know because there's just so many tests that who knows what that steroid is also doing to the rest of the cells in my body. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, not go on a tangent, but I knew of no one. I knew of no one in my family. I have just found out that I have a cousin who was just diagnosed with what seems like it is type 1. It's showing up because he just got diagnosed. They didn't run the other tests just yet. I'm not close to him. It was another cousin who told me. Someone in our family that you don't really know. He's a cousin who lives in Puerto Rico. Or from our family there in Puerto Rico has diabetes. But my daughter being diagnosed was a kick in the gut. I thought just maybe I have diabetes because it's environmental. It was something I was exposed to, which could very well be because there's some people who have markers, but they don't develop type 1.
Right.
And so I do think that that has something to say like it means something. And maybe we are predisposed because of something we're exposed to, and that activates the immune system to go off. You know, they do talk about us maybe having some type of illness and the immune system being in overdrive and then eventually killing off all the cells that make insulin. But I
Right.
thought that was something else.
And that could be any stressor on the body, whether it's physically or mentally.
Right, right.
Right. Because we know today in modern age, like we have to treat our physical and our mental, psychological well-being equally. We can't be good physically if we're not good mentally, and vice versa.
Right.
Like you may see someone, they look the strongest, but mentally they might be all messed up.
Yeah.
That's why, like in the beginning, like you said, like greetings help. Truly, they truly do. Like if you see someone in passing and you're just like, have an amazing day. They look back like on purpose, they're going to have an amazing day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, good morning, beautiful. Like, that touched my heart. Like, give people their flowers while they're here.
Let them know you see them.
Mhm. Now, I was going to hold off and wait and see if you were going to tap into your daughter's diagnosis because I know that's her diagnosis. It belongs to her. But I did want to know, like, did you see the signs?
I did.
You did.
Probably about a month before her diagnosis, the first sign was that she wet the bed. And I was like, you don't ever wet the bed. You were potty trained early and you're 9, this doesn't happen. But she was like, oh, I was having a dream. So I was like, okay, maybe. And I didn't check her blood sugar. But that was also because I was thinking, does she drink a lot of water? Does she go back and forth to the bathroom? And I did ask her. She was like, no, not really. And I was watching her like, okay, she don't think she's drinking that much water. Then another couple of weeks passed, and there was a birthday party, a kid's birthday party we went to, and she was ice skating along with her sister at this party. And she was like, Mom, I'm thirsty. Can you get me some water? So I was like, okay. And I bought 2, one for her and one for her sister. So she guzzles one down, and then she goes, can I have the other one too? And I was like, at that point, I was like, you don't even like water like this. So I gave it to her and I was like, oh God, please tell me this isn't like she peed a few weeks ago and she's very thirsty right now. I don't want to believe that this is what it is. And then I want to say a few days after that, she wet the bed again. About like 2 days after. Could have been even that night. And I waited because I just did not want to accept that. I did not want it. And when she wet the bed again, I knew that morning, that's when we found out. And I was like, let me check your sugar. She goes, oh, okay, you're going to check it? And she knows I do it. So she's like, okay, here's my finger. And it was in the 300s. And at that point, I was like, all right, Lily, we're going to have to go to the hospital today. I think you might have diabetes like me. And she was like, really? So I don't have to go to school today. That's all this about. I was like, no, you do not have to go to school today. And I remember asking her, well, first thing after that, I got her sister ready to take her to school. And then I went outside for a walk. It was in November, and it was actually my mother's birthday. That was the 17th, it was the day before my mother's birthday. And she answered, and I just sobbed. I just sobbed crying. I was like, she's got diabetes. She's just like me, and she's so young. And I'm so hurt for her having to have to deal with this. So we went to the hospital, and I know about the day before she got released, she was excited because we finally got her blood sugar down, and all she wanted was teriyaki, which is loaded with sugar. She was like, can I have teriyaki now? I was like, Lord. And she's my daughter who loves to snack. just like me. I love snacks. I love snacking. I definitely snack too much.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just knowing that, like, for me, I pick good snacks now, like snacks that are, but my kid is like, where are the Oreos and where's the candy? And not that I ever gave her all of these sweets, but some people are prone to a sweet tooth. Some people aren't. My kid has one. She was that way. It wasn't like I constantly exposed her to that as a kid. And her sister, she could care less. Doesn't like it like that. And it's been a journey already. I'm just taking it one day at a time. It is difficult. It is very difficult. I have all of the compassion for parents of children with type 1 diabetes.
Our parents are second to none, truly. The parents of people living with diabetes, seriously, I give everything to you, to the community, because you keep us well, you keep us alive. That mental strain that just stays with you, it's like a glow that just stays around you. Like, even if your child may go away for a week, it still remains there. Like, and anything can trigger that. Like, let me contact my child to see if they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you living with it is even, I mean, I never say like one is greater than the other, but you living with it, you're dealing with double diabetes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and we know our children will always be ahead of our diabetes. That's something people don't understand, but that's your baby, right? Like, even before that diagnosis, like when you said you called your mother, I had in my head, I said, she's either going to take a walk, she's in a bathroom with the shower running, something. I said, because that moment of grief and acceptance is needed. It truly is needed. You took that walk, called your best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything, right? Because you're about to take care of your everything, right? Like, you're her everything and your daughter's your everything. Like, it's that cycle of love. Like, your mom has to be the greatest mom ever. She has to be, because I see it in you, how you share your journey with your children, but also you try to make sure that they live a just regular, everyday, normal life. Your daughter is 13 now. My daughter's 14. She's going through every hormonal fluctuation, change, challenge in life. But at the same time, I know this without even asking, the brilliance of your child, because every child I've come across, especially more recently with the advancements in technology, they're so brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So brilliant. And when they tap into it, they're going to go beyond, like, be able to do anything. Because I always think, like, if they didn't have diabetes and they were able to know all these nuances of insulin and the technology, just think where they would be. So I must ask you, as we do wind down, speaking of you and your baby that have been living with diabetes for 3 years and the last 20 plus years, the advancements in technology, faster acting insulins, smarter insulins, we do see on the brink, like, there may be a day, someday, where diabetes will be something of our past. It will be a memory, just like those 20 years you had before your diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But none of your dreams were ever crushed. It will be a memory of your daughter's past, a memory of your past, and nothing will crush either of your dreams moving forward. On that day, you find out that a functional cure, a true functional cure, where we don't need immunosuppressants, is readily available for all. All. It's been tested, been approved globally, not locally, but globally. And Qiana and Lily, you wake up, both of y'all step on the ground, yawn. She taps on your door. Mom, I've been steady at about 82 all night. No alerts,
I would be
no
like,
alarms.
Today we're eating all of the food. Okay. I'd be like, we're starting out with pancakes, and I don't care about coupling it with protein. It's like, I'm having the pancakes with regular syrup, and I'm not going to sit here being like, not too much. I'm be like, I'm thinking about it. Then later we're going to have some ice cream. And I don't know, I eat so differently, but I definitely would be like, where's the yuca? I want all of the yuca and the plátanos with the arroz con gandules, all of it together. Not like, make sure you have your salad first. Nope. Right. Make sure you follow the My Plate method. And not saying that is good for long term. In general, we all should be eating a certain way. But you also should have those days that you go all out and you're not thinking about it, and it doesn't impact your sugar because your body is giving you everything you need to handle it. So that will be the day. But it would be, you had me to remember when you were saying that this was a big birthday for my daughter because she turned 13. So she's officially a teenager. And she had this long list of all the things that she wanted for her birthday. Her birthday is on Christmas Day. So gifts and birthday gifts. And one of the things on the list, which as I was going through it, I was like, oh, this is a lot of stuff. She thinks I'm rich. I don't know what line it was, but it said stem cell therapy for me and mommy to have our diabetes cured. And I was like, in her birthday wish list was a cure for us. And she actually wrote that down. How beautiful.
Amazing. Wow, you got me there because look, being the father of 3, I know that there's nothing I won't do for them to be their best. And a part of your Lily's best is a life without diabetes. I know that you will do everything you can to get her there. Even if that means just holding on to hope. Because hope goes a long way. Hope got you at 21 years young to today.
Mm-hmm.
You said that from the beginning. You cannot have your dreams crushed. They're your dreams. That's her dream. Someday, hopefully soon, I'll be able to walk that walk with you. We still have our community. I love this community. Just think about all the great things we'll be able to do beyond this community without having the burden of living with diabetes. QiQi, is there anything that we did not cover throughout the duration of this recording that you need to lay out for us?
Well, I totally forgot to tell the community that I do have a song for the diabetes community called You Are Not Alone. And I'm going to release it on all streaming platforms this year, but it is already on YouTube. The full video is on YouTube, and please do go watch it. My daughter is in it. She's now taller than me, but she wasn't in that video. And that was only about a year ago that I shot that video. So please leave me a comment. I appreciate if you do leave me a comment on that video. And it is for our community, by us, for us.
For us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I have some jingles too that I've written. I have for the community Doing Diabetes Your Way, but it's a handle. And so I wrote a jingle for their first season of their YouTube show. And then I have a remix to that same song for their second season. And you can find that on streaming platforms as well. You can even use it if you're going to go ahead and make a reel. I welcome you to tag me if you do use it, but it's called Doing Diabetes Your Way. And so, yeah, and I'm still working on some more music that I will eventually. So far, I'm doing like a song a year. If it's not a song, it's a jingle. But there'll be another one. And I absolutely love this song. It's called Coast. Never too high, never too low. Stay
Coast.
in the middle, which is what we're
Gotcha.
really trying to just navigate this middle, this target range. And I'm excited to release that. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but I want another music video and I love dancing. So we'll see. Maybe I can get a little dance crew and make up some dances for it.
So, as we do end out on this segment, I do have one last thing I wanted to ask you, and this is solely for you, for your child. Is there any advice or anything you would like to share or gift to yourself and your child living with diabetes?
When you say gift myself, like in what?
Gift yourself, like you're speaking to you.
Like what I would say to my older self, or what do I say to myself today?
What do you say to yourself today?
Okay. Well, I just went to go see the nephrologist a couple days ago. And I have been pushing that appointment back because I just didn't want to hear what I kind of already knew after years of living with diabetes. But she gave me some hope, some good hope too. But as I was sitting there in the doctor's office, it was going to be my first time meeting her. I cried. I was just filled with emotion and the heaviness. Because sometimes, I'm not going to say that I put diabetes down, but the weight of everything that can happen to you because you have diabetes. And so what I said I allowed myself to cry and to feel all of the fear and the emotions of what could be. And then I said, you're going to be okay. No matter what happens, you're going to do well. No matter what, you're going to face it and you're going to take it on and you're still going to thrive and you're still going to live life and take it one day at a time. And so that's what I told myself. And I ease into how I talk to my daughter because as being a parent, it's like, she's like, you lecture me too much. But I'm open with her and I let her know what the doctor said. And I do remind her. And I said, but regardless of what happens, it has no bearing on what an amazing person you are and the things, and living out your potential. The things that happen to us, so we don't have control over all of them. We only have control over our outlook and how we move forward. So everybody in this world has a challenge. Like no one comes out of here unscathed. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how big your house is, all of your dreams coming true. We're all impacted in some way that can make us feel sad, that can dampen our spirits. But you have to remember, you got this one life, and every single day you are here is a gift. And so just wake up to that gift. So that's what I would say to all of you who are listening. And that's pretty much what I said to myself. Like every day is a gift. I actually just posted a reel today that reminded me of something that I do with myself whenever life feels a little bit challenging or very challenging. I'm just like, girl, you could not be here. You could maybe not be alive. Imagine if you weren't and you get to come back. You get to come back and love on all the people that you love and pursue all your curiosities and dance again and taste ice cream again and swim in the mountains. You can go mountain hiking or swim in a lake, or all of the amazing things we have the opportunity to do because we are alive. And even if we haven't done them yet, as long as we're alive, the operative word is yet. You still have the opportunity because your story isn't over. It's not over until it's over. You only die once. You live every day. So how do you want to live?
On that note, my friend, my sister, Qiana Drew, I truly appreciate you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we hold real conversations with community that need to be heard. Because one, Qiana Drew, you are someone that truly needs to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Will.